So yeah, I think I'll just throw different questions at you guys, and then you can just kind of answer accordingly. Whoever wants to answer. What was your first sort of impression of church?
That's like really far back.
I remember that at baptisms, all the attention was on you and you alone, and people were singing and like you went underwater and then came back up and you were all wet. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that because I don't want all the attention to be on me. So I remember like talking it out with my parents, being like, you know what, yeah, I don't want to be baptized, only because I don't want all the attention to be on me like that, because that's just kind of weird. And then like when I grew up and actually started studying the Bible, I'm like, you know what, no, this isn't about everybody else around me, it's just about me and God.
So when do you guys feel like church sort of changed from being like just a thing that you had to go to because, I mean, basically your family was going, to something that, even though you still had to go because your family was going, but it was something more so that you were somewhat looking forward to going to, or it was more sort of voluntary?
I guess for me it's like I went to teen camp and I actually like found out like what disciples were and stuff, because before even going into high school, never had heard the word baptism or disciple or like anything. So it was really when I went into the teen ministry, like I don't know, I had more, like because of teen camp and really wanting to study the Bible, I had more of a want to like learn in the lessons instead of just sitting there and getting nothing out of them.
So how do you guys feel like your life is different than maybe some of your school friends now that you're a disciple?
When I was I got baptized when I was in the summer going into 7th grade, and just from 6th grade I was just feeling like just not really caring about other people, like not really wanting to help them, just thinking more about myself and more about feeling more secure about myself, and not because I don't like being kind of the outsider. But then when I came back to school in 7th grade as a disciple, I felt like I can't just sit here and watch my friends just like not know God and continue to do this stuff. So then that really motivated me to reach out to them, knowing that sometimes that they have trouble going to church because their main mindset is like, oh, we're going to go to church, hear a lesson for like 3 hours and then go home.
It's like people at my school generally find their like worth in what other people think of them, and what, like their value in what other people think of them. And I think that's how I used to be too, and I still am that way, I guess, but it's different because as a disciple now, I strive to have my worth in God instead of having it in people. And yeah, a lot of times I can fall to that, like looking for security in what people think of me. But I think that it's very different because I can see just like how much people want, I guess, for other people to value them or want to get their security from what other people think of them.
How do you guys think that your life at home, like your relationships with your family, is different now that you're a disciple than it would have been if you hadn't become one?
I think just getting more responsibility is something that really happened in our house, because it's like, okay, not only are we like getting older, but now we're like disciples, and like, yeah, I think just the trust that we have in our family is just great.
We'd have more disagreements than we do now, only because now it's like we're both striving to live for God and live a godly life, and so we're able to hold each other accountable and like, hey, like, why did you say that like that? Like, oh, it'll be okay, and we're able to like help each other spiritually as well as like her helping me with my schoolwork. And I feel like me being homeschooled has really been helpful for our relationship because we've just gotten to grow really close. And before it used to be like, oh yeah, I don't want to talk to you about that because you're my mom. But now it's like, no, you're my friend, you're my sister, and you're my mom, so I want to talk to you about this because I need advice, and I'm around you all the time, so you know me enough to give me good advice about whatever it is I need advice about.
Why did you guys ultimately decide to become a Christian?
Before I became a disciple, the place that I would look for security mostly in was in people, and I definitely saw the effects of that because people were always changing, so no matter what I did, I could never really please them. And so I'd always strive to, like, what I'd wear was for people, how I would speak, who I would speak to, what I'd speak about. Like, all that was also that I could make someone happy, or someone happy with me, and for someone to see me in a better light, I guess. And I just saw that, like, I always ended up like feeling empty or like sad, because I would always be like, okay, well today, like one day would be a good day, people would be like super nice, and then the next day would be a bad day, and people would like treat me like I was just, I guess, like irrelevant or whatever. And so then I'd be like, okay, this is like, it's never really gonna be, like I'm never really gonna be valued by people. Like I'm never really gonna be able to get my value from people, because every day is different, every day is changing. But then I saw that like God's love is unconditional and unchanging, and how he sees me doesn't change, and just that I can get my value and my worth as a disciple from God, instead of from people. So that's